Cedric Maxwell Podcast is powered by PrizePicks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network.
It's another NBA Finals edition of the Cedric Maxwell Podcast. And like we said, we have a very, very special guest lined up today. Man, hip-hop legend, producer, rapper. He gave you one of the greatest rap groups of all time in Public Enemy. He's Chuck D joining the podcast. I'm Josue Pavon. Cedric Maxwell is here as well. But what's going on, Chuck D, man? Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
Man, I thank y'all for even asking me. And then I got the great Cornbread Maxwell. I had to school you the other day, Josue, on how mighty and how significant this man was in my high school year. Because I think he was coming out of college, and I was in my last year of high school, and I was telling my boys, watch out for, because we used to read the Street and Smiths, and the Street and Smiths, it was a basketball magazine back in the day, where we used to always look for the underdog, the sleeper. And in the 1977 NCAAs, this is back in the day when Brian Gumble was doing the broadcasting. Your man turned up. He turned up and took the whole NCAA to the last second. So to be actually, and also the modern day Cornbread Maxwell that you know is somebody I listen to on Sirius XM during the Celtics broadcast. He be having me crying.
Oh man, that's how. See, growing up, that was me, man. As a kid in Boston, man, the funniest, most entertaining radio broadcast, man.
I'm so impressed that a New York guy would find in the magazine and follow me. I always thought that was the coolest thing, and I'm sure it's happened to you 1,000 times, where rappers came to you and said, "Man, I grew up on you, man. I everything you did, I tried to do it." That is the coolest shit of all time when I hear that from somebody like you.
Even when they speak other languages, so I take it with a grain of salt, man. We hear and everything. We like a prism. And I tell people, I said, listen, when you get to some significance, the light that shine on you, you're supposed to be like a prism. Have that light bounce off into so many area colors as like a spectrum, man. You distribute the light that comes to you, man. We can't take anything with us, and to think that we could get everything is kind of, on a greedy tip. So I'm humbled, but like I said, for years, you've been my hero, one of my heroes, and most of my heroes don't appear on the stamp anyway, before any of y'all know. So when I was asked to be on the show, I get asked to be on a lot of shows. A lot of times sports shows ask me to be on. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a big fanatic fan. Matter of fact, these are my guys. Nick Fan TV, my man, CP the Franchise will be there on Sirius XM as well as Nick Fan TV. But we ball fans. We ain't casuals. So this year, yeah, we Knicks fans, but who don't want Tatum and Brown and company and the underrated Joe Mazzulla to get it? And only one you probably feel a little sorry for is my man down in Memphis now. So that, other than that, yeah, man, this is something. So yeah, thank you for being on the show. Now I'm going to ask you a lot of questions too,
okay. All right.
Max. Yeah. Like, for example, on that game, Marquette, listen, look a little sway in the back. Marquette, UNCC. They get the ball to you, and you put them ahead, and then all of a sudden they run the play. And what do you think when Butch Lee was throwing? Did you think he had the arm enough to catch Whitehead? And then, Whitehead, seriously, he fouled you on that play, bro.
He did. I mean, there was so many things that happened. We went ahead, Josue, and then Butch Lee, he runs some kind of play, and Butch Lee he gets in, and Al McGuire's looking up and see if he can throw it, and he throws it, and I catch the ball. And then what happened is that Jerome Whitehead runs into the back of me. I have never recovered that fast, Chuck D. He ran into the back of me, caught the ball. He was about to dunk it. All in one motion, Josue. I was from that place to this place, and I blocked that shot before it went in. And then the ball was on the rim, and he tapped it in, and that's how my That's how my college career ended. And it was just weird because there had been any kind of instant replay. They were like, oh, hell no, that shit doesn't go. But, you know, thank you for reminding me of that. I want to ask you, give me your New York Knicks top 5.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because you're a Knicks fan, you got to be real with this one. And you've been with the Knicks for a while. So give me your top 5 Knicks players.
Top 5 Knicks players easily is Willis Reed, Walt Clyde Frazier, Earl of Pearl Monroe, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley. But yeah, it's hard to give a top 5 because I've been following the Knicks since 1967. So
Chuck D, I'm ashamed of you. You ain't gonna put Bernard King in there?
Of course. I mean, it's hard for me to make top lists, man, because I can't make top 5. It's like somebody trying to give me a top 5 rappers. I'm like,
yeah, it's hard, right? It changes.
And then it changes over a period of time, man. I mean, to me, you one of my favorite Celtic players to look at. But how many Celtics can we name? 30. I mean, you got Bill Russell. And let me tell you this much. Luka, right? He can't exercise his birds' rights yet. Because the birds' rights is being compared to Larry Bird. Not yet. So the birds' rights for Luka is just not going to happen right now. But it's coming. But to think that you can be compared to Larry Bird and you under 25, that's crazy, man.
Josue, I got to hit him with what E40 said to me. I was like, met him, and I didn't really know who he was, but I said, nice meeting you. And you know that nigga told me, he said, ping pong. I said, what? He said, ping pong, back at you. I ain't never heard of.
Yeah, because E40 be making up his own words. He be making his own slang. I mean, that's the rapper that he is.
I had to tell Max, yo, that's not no slang, man. No one says that, just so you know. Like
he makes his own thing. Oh, he like Flavor Flav. He makes up his own language, man, and it works for him. I mean, E40 will make up a slang and make a song about it, and then 150 million people say it and not know what the hell he talking about.
When he told me that, I just looked at him like, are you serious here? Nigga, back at you.
Yo, Max is looking at me like I'm a translator, man. I'm like, yo, that is not part of the culture, man. I don't know about that one.
E40 makes his own culture, man. Matter of fact, he got that whole Bay Area locked. So when you go up in there, man, it starts in, up in Sausalito, Sacramento, all that stuff, and then that language is what he creates. So yeah, he's one of the greats.
Well, tell me about your new Nick here. Your point
man.
That's right now because he's a bad boy.
That's why I can't. That's why I can't name a quick top 5, man. But going with my boys, Nick Fan TV,
he might take a spot.
Jalen Brunson, when he was turned up, showing all out against Dallas 3 years ago, I was like, this dude right here is something. And I was saying, as far as the Knicks, I think we've been looking for a point guard for we was jumping up and down with Jeremy Lin. So, somebody could just bring the ball up and not get stripped. We were looking for, And when Knicks got Jalen Brunson, I was like, well, at least he got handles. He won't get stripped, and if he gonna score, he could pass off, and he is just end up being the cat's dream because. In New York, if you don't come in New York with the right headspace, it's social media before social media ever happened. Right. And you got to go in there, and we call it microwave square garden. You could get melted up in there. Or the old saying, I know Max probably know that. He said you go there on a Greyhound and leave with on a stray dog. Right? New York is relentless, man. So I think he had the right temperament, humility, strong parents that also was able to bring it to him. don't get beside yourself, and all that is a factor on, I think, and plus the skill set, the ability to work, the relationship with Tom Thibodeau, all those things were factors that nobody could predict, but all these things came together in a big bang that is exciting to watch. And here, as a Knicks fan, we celebrate the great moments. I celebrate in life. I celebrate not years. I celebrate seconds and minutes and moments, man. I mean, when somebody wants to put years on you, be like, man, I got more years behind me than ahead. So I'm going to celebrate minutes and seconds and hours. And coincidentally, it's been a weird NBA Finals because we lost 3 W's in the span of a week. Bill Walton, Chet Walker, and then Jerry West.
Jerry West, yeah.
Go figure. Go figure, right?
Some icons, yeah.
All 3 of them were icons, but you got the logo, Bill Walton, and you got Chet Walker, who coincidentally, like the NBA was talking about giving, like props to. I didn't hear anything said about Chet Walker in one of the games, so.
Right. But what do you make of what's going on with the narrative surrounding this Boston Celtics team? And I'm not just talking about this last week. I'm talking about the entire playoffs, man. It seems like Tatum has sort of been in the forefront of criticism in terms of like his scoring and his capabilities and all that. But Max and I over here have been doing this podcast saying, what about the squad? I mean, everyone has been sort of doing their part in this run. And all of a sudden now they're 1 win away from winning a title. They're on this winning streak throughout the entire postseason. And it's like now they're getting the attention that they deserve as a team.
People and fans need to get off that privilege thing, man. If somebody's doing something that's great and you're a fanatic and they're going to win and they 15-2, I don't want to hear no criticism or what. Right. I mean, that just shows you spoiled and privileged. And I don't, me as a fan, as a Knicks fan, man, I'm telling you, man, I think if we would have got to the Eastern and we were a game away from getting to the ECF, man, that would have been a championship for us, knowing that, we depleted, we ain't going to beat Boston, but it would be, look, sometimes the games just got to be fun, right? Yeah. It just got to be fun, man. As a fan, right?
I wanted that series, Chuck, man. I wanted that bad. Celtics and Knicks, MSG, what? Eastern Conference Finals, give me all that.
I'm just saying that sometimes the game got, look, we fans, right? It shouldn't be fun. Why are we putting all this? I be telling people, I said, we fans, it ain't our business. It's their business. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, enjoy the show. Right.
Yeah, they talk about LeBron. I'd be like, you talk about LeBron like he stood you up for a date. Yo, LeBron left me with a check. Yeah, you got a legitimate reason to be mad at LeBron James, but you mad at him for this, that, whatever. And it's like, man, so sometimes fans, I think these phones and the gadgets get us interconnected to the point a little bit too much. We've seen it in the entertainment. We've seen it in a lot of things where, I feel like I'm right with them. Yeah, you can feel like you're right with them, but their professionalism is at such a high regard. Separate yourself from that. I tell people all the time, you can talk criticism all you want. The closer you get to that field, that diamond, that court, and you ain't getting on it, you just getting close to it. Exactly. You better start peeling money out of your pocket. And the more you peel out of your pocket, you could get close to the court. You ain't getting on the court. And I tell you, it used to be like that in the stage. Stage is like you say what you want, but the closer you get to that stage, you realize that you can't do that. So that's why we were entertainment value to always be with effort and high regard. Yes, sir.
You guys are such a popular statement, a group of hip hop. Did you ever think that you were gonna, when you started out, did you guys feel that you were gonna get to this particular place? Because you were what people refer to now, like me, a living legend of that music, of that genre. Did you think that you could get there? And when you got there, how'd you feel? Because I listened to you in not necessarily your music, but I listened to your philosophy about life. And that's the thing that really impressed me about you. Not away from the music, just listening to what you had to say about certain facets of life that we're going through. And it wasn't the music, but it was just plain damn common sense.
Yeah, I mean, I come from good stock. Yeah, and I pay. I mean, my dad to me is the greatest in the world. My mom's greatest in the world. So it starts for them, and trust me, it's like I had the type of parents. If I flip 1 second on myself, and they were funny too. They'd be like, "Listen, when you see Chuck, tell him that I want to talk to him for a minute, because this ain't." Tell me when you see this boy. My dad's straightforward like that. So I got people like that running jokes, but also really big, straight laser, right? So.
Yeah.
You know, you take that into the world with humility, man. And I used to say, I ain't got no wings on my feet. I'm going to do my effort in my job. It was Public Enemy. It was so, I came in there as an older person. I started my career when I was 27. So I didn't start it I was 18. It's a big difference, man, especially back then, man. So I came in there as a person that learned everything about hip hop, the music, grew up with it, but really detailed the study. And same thing with Black music and culture and arts and education and all that. So I came in there not with a wealth of knowledge, but I came in the game with an appreciation of the wealth of knowledge. And I was encouraged as a young person to actually, when you see something that you think is great, and it's okay to be a fan and a fanatic of it and learn about it. So that's why when I had to bring up, like, Max is like, when me and my boys see them with that UNCC, and he turned up, and then he turned up at the Omni even more. And the Omni is the old Atlanta arena, Josue.
Okay. Yeah,
Now
I
it's
didn't know what that was.
then it turned into Phillips Arena, and I don't know what they call State Farm or whatever now. But it's the same.
Amway Center.
Yeah, Amway or whatever. It's the same
Yeah.
grounds where the Omni, which was a state of the art architecture, and I think y'all almost like kind of, the NCAA Final Four was that year. It was like only 3 or 4 years old as a state of the art arena building. And in the beginning of my career, I'm looking at these places that Max played in, and I go to the stage with an attitude like, well, I'm gonna tear this place down, because when these players came in there and doing their basketball or whatever, I'm gonna tear it down rap wise in the same effort. So we all trade off each other, but it takes a knowledge to have an appreciation. And then the appreciation is the thing that makes you a fan, but also makes you a professional. Be like, man, you can't even get close to me. You can't get close to me. I know too much of this as a fan, and I love it too much for you to beat me on the stage. It's not going to happen. So that's the bravado that we have, or we used to have, I would say, in rap and hip hop, before I guess we crossed the century line and cats is a little bit more sensitive. We wasn't sensitive. We like, either you got it or you don't. And if you don't got it, you're gonna get exposed. And if you get exposed, you go home. And nobody wants to go home when they on tour. But let you have 4 or 5 bad, shows on tour and get wiped. They're gonna say, yo, man, we need another group out here to pull people in. And that's how that was. So there's competition and everything.
This episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With PrizePicks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a PrizePick lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stats projections, and you're locked in. There's always action on PrizePicks, and this is the perfect time to try out something new. As basketball is winding down, make sure you try out esports this month, because every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. Choose from Counter-Strike 2, Call of Duty, League of Legends, and more. I've been on a roll with these PrizePicks selections throughout the playoffs, and you can be on the same run. Download the app today and use the code CLNS for a free deposit match up to $100. That's CLNS for a first deposit match for up to $100.
I got to ask him, Josue, and you're talking about exposure, and you're the guy I would listen to. What in the world is going on with the music industry? What is going on with our comedians?
No, you stole my question.
Like,
that's a great question. Yeah.
He did it right in front of you. Looks like he's just imploding with everything around. You're in the New York area. Tell me a little bit about that, because it's crazy to hear what we hear, but you're on the inside and you know a lot more than we do.
And it's been a wild 6 months, man. The last 6 months has been crazy.
I ain't never been on the inside, bro. I'm with regular people ready to knock me in the head if I don't hit their cash apps and dime. So I'm just saying, trust me, man. I ain't in the middle. But on the peripheral, one thing I did offer myself, people like Ice-T, LL Cool J, Questlove of the Roots, stand up people, man. It's like we're trying to organize this thing. KRS-One, we have a union started by Curtis Blow, KRS-One, MC Light. It's a union that's tied in the SAG-AFTRA. The only thing that's going to save your genre and save yourself and make it grow for years and years is organization and acknowledgement of what you're doing, and it didn't start from you. And I'm pretty sure Max remembers that time, but once upon a time, and this is another trip for you, Josue, where basketball players used to wear Dookie jewelry on the court, right? Wow. You remember that, Max?
The Dookie chains?
Did you ever wear any gold? Because I know you played against people like Dawkins.
I had a small gold chain that I used to wear around my neck, and then it started getting bigger, and you saw people getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I need to see these pics.
And really, the connection is, it almost like went from athletes to rappers, or rappers to athletes. Yeah. And then you look at your guy, Flavor Flav, with the clock. I just saw him the other day. I'm like, and he still got the clock. I'm like, damn, you still got the clock.
Hey, but he's the hype man for Red Lobster. He's saving them from bankruptcy right now. So
man. He was in the last series. He pulled up, right?
Yeah, he's everywhere, man.
In Indianapolis.
My dude. But like I said, like, this was an important part for organization, not to be biased or racist. I mean, David Stern saw where this was going. He said, listen, it could get ridiculous if it get out of hand. So you remember the year that David Stern said, look, no jewelry. Yeah. Do you remember any flip back on that, Max?
David Stern was old school. We were on the plantation, okay? So when David Stern spoke, everybody listened. Not too many people bucked against David Stern at that time, because everybody thought David Stern was this nice dude. I happened to talk to Sam Cassell about this, and Sam Cassell used to say, he used to walk around telling me he had the big balls and all this stuff after he made the shot. He said, David Stern followed him into the office and said, Sam, he said he was watering his plants. He said, Sam, there'll be no more of that damn big ball shit, okay? We're not doing that anymore. Sam said, David, come on, man. Come on. He said, Sam, I done told you, if you want to play, there will be no more of this damn big ball shit at all. And Sam said he listened, he heard what David said, and said he never again did the big ball thing. The new commissioner now, he's more in line. Adam Silver is more in line with the players and the development, and he's more of a partner for him. David Stern was more of a father. He told you what to do, and you did it. There was no way around that.
Well, he had to be the enforcer in the 80s, though, right, Max? Because remember, with the cocaine and stuff was going on, like, wasn't that the reason why they brought him in, to sort of clean things up and be the enforcer?
There was at that time two things that Chuck will remember. One was the cocaine use, but also the New York Knicks, and as they used to call them back then, the Knickerbockers. The Knickerbockers.
Yeah, Knickerbockers.
They did not have a black player, and that happened to be in the newspaper. That word, the Knickerbockers. So you were in an era, especially in New York, that was even more crazy.
Yeah, it was one of those things where the great Berry Gordy of Motown, one of my heroes, said the boss of any great situation that you want to continue to go forward and plant seeds and grow fruit, the boss of those situations are logic, not a person. And it got to be logical and practical. So what David Stern did in that day in organization, made people look at the NBA today to just pick fruit. You just want these players who are under 30 years old to understand, like, you stand on shoulders of giants that made you get what you get. So don't think it's about you at all. For me to be on a stage and not to be thinking about like what the Isley brothers gone through in order for me to be on stage and have a career and be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I got to acknowledge that. I got to be like, you know what? I'm a beneficiary of time, commitment, organization, and there's a lot of bones I stand on. And I got to acknowledge that and kick back to that in order to make it grow forward. So I think the biggest difference is when you ask, like, what happened in hip-hop right about now, the lack of leadership, because you don't really need a leader when you do the arts, do you, or do you not? But then, are you doing the arts for yourself, or are you doing the arts to enhance the recipient of the arts? You know, like, I heard Brian Gumble said this once. He talked about a particular person who's a famous, matter of fact, he was a ball player too. He said, you know, you could do everything in the world, you know, to be a character, to enhance yourself, or you could do a great thing to have character and enhance the world.
Yeah. That's a big difference, man. But the difference nowadays, Chuck, is guys or girls too, they're just creating their music, they're putting it on social media, they're putting it on there. It's no longer, I need to go get a manager. I gotta go get this record deal. I feel like it's different now. And like you said, they want to be famous. It's not about, I want to make an impact on the culture. No, I want to be famous and I want to do it my way.
That's not a problem. Everybody, I think, wants to try something to emulate what they think is famous to make them beyond themselves. That's all right. That's like me wanting to go out. I could buy, you know, the jersey. I could buy the kicks. I could go to the court. I could even be my own announcer, right? I could do that whole thing. In my mind, I'm doing the whole, you know what I'm saying? In my mind. I think when you see these young kids, they on YouTube, they're getting their thing up. That's an unbelievable playground. That next kick up into being a skilled professional is miles away. So I don't have a problem with somebody like, okay, yeah, I'm playing guitar in my basement and I'm in Indiana and I keep, you know, and I'm gonna get my band camp together and stuff like that. And I want to get famous at this. But the biggest difference today is that you're not going to get that cluster. You're going to get one by one by one by one by one. So I'd say, you're putting your music, you're putting your videos together. It's an unbelievable playground workshop. You got all the tools in the world, but now if you think you're going to be a superstar, you got to figure out what that skill set is and that avenue. How many people that y'all see all the time that they you know, just because they cross somebody up on the dribble, think it's like there must be some kind of league waiting for me. Okay. Who's gonna be the one? Who's gonna be the one to break the news? How many people you break the news to, Max, on that? Look at you and be like, yo, dog, I know way back in the day, you probably was a plumber. So
it's like that classic question, man. It's like that classic question. How old were you when you realized you weren't going to make it to the league? Like,
man, listen.
Right.
Who were you? And I've been, I think one person that I've been in awe of since I've been around this earth and kind of met in a crazy way was Barack Obama. Is anybody that you've been like that you were in awe of the first time you met them?
Oh, hell.
Or you wanted to meet them and all of a sudden you're like, damn, there's such and such. Could be actor, could be sports, could be whatever.
Well, when you study, you know, people that you're in awe of, you study them, man, it's just an endless array. Like, you know, I come from the same town as Julius Erving. Wow. Dr. J was our hometown hero. We remember when he graduated Roosevelt High and went to UMass.
You know,
we following the clips.
You know what? You about to
UMass
now, okay? Talking about you about.
Oh yeah.
Chuck, if you ain't never been in a position where you about to get dunked on by this dude, it is crazy. And you one-on-one and you standing there, it's like you in a rap battle with somebody and this dude coming at you and you know what's about to happen, but you can't do a damn thing about it. That was crazy about guarding the dog.
I had the opportunity to do the narration for Dr. J's documentary, and you was in there, the clip of you in there, and you were like, you said, 20,000 people started to stand up in the spectrum. He's like, something's bad about to happen. That's the best line. And I tell people all the time, just like it's hard to explain. I was telling Josue, I said it's hard to explain the legend of how Cornbread Maxwell came out of seemingly nowhere and just took over the world, right? And then I was like, how the Celtics gonna get him too? And Larry Bird and McHale and the Lakers get Worthy.
This is the part I want to hear about, because before you told me all that in terms of like how you've been a fan with Max, like I'm thinking to myself, this dude's probably cheered for the Lakers in the 80s, probably couldn't stand Max or whatever. But then I come to find out you were a fan before he even got into the league, man.
Yo, man, he turned up. Just like it's hard to explain. Here's his two other areas, and Max could probably relate to this. It's hard to explain the aura of Julius Erving when he entered the NBA from the ABA. It's like you can't even explain it because it's not. You can't even put it in words. It's like
it was crazy.
I ain't never seen nothing in basketball since then. It's like the world kind of like everything was like, because here's this dude that everybody been talking about, and understand this, and Max was in college during this time. George McGinnis came out of the ABA and tore up the NBA in 75. He just tore it up. And then the next year, the ABA folded. They say, the doc is coming. Now, I can't explain. Listen, ESPN, and this is my take on it, built their whole network off of knowing that highlights would be a thing that would be enough to put around 24 hours a day. Dr. J, right, coming from New York, Long Island, Roosevelt, right, when he went down and was traded to the Sixers, Warner Wolf on New York TV would show more Sixer highlights with Dr. J than the Knicks or the Nets at that time. He'd be like, Warner Wolf would be like, and Warner Wolf don't get no credit. He'd be like, matter of fact, let's go down to the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Julius Erving versus the Pacers. He would show Dr. J highlights in New York, TV. Man, it's hard to, listen, it's hard to explain Dr. J. So Cornbread Maxwell comes out of UNCC, out of seemingly nowhere, and he's on everybody's mouth. So we follow as fanatics the phenomena. It's hard to put in words, man. Today, everything is put in words, and there's got to be a reason for this. That's why I said earlier, before we had technical difficulties, Luka hasn't exercised his birds rights yet. You don't compare anything to Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, really, because I don't even understand how Larry Bird comes out of nowhere in Indiana State and then all of a sudden comes out, and it's like he loses the Final Four final, and that time we had like 4 Final Fours that was just not really. You had 8 Final Fours in the NCAA, starting from Max, because I think the year before Indiana won it, right?
Yeah,
and that was just like But when Max came in and Marquette won and they beat Max, because everybody liked Marquette because of their jerseys that nobody ever seen to this day. What they had, they had jerseys that you didn't tuck them in, right? Were you jealous of their jerseys, Max?
I was. I think somebody.
He said I was.
Butch Lee. No, it was one of the guys who played. Bo Ellis. Bo Ellis supposedly designed the jersey that was worn at that time, and that was a cool thing. But you had them. You had UNLV with the Running Rebels.
Reggie Theus, right?
Oh, man, big afros coming at you. But the first time I saw Dr. J, I looked at him, and I remember hearing Iverson talk about how he looked at Jordan the first time. That's the way I looked at Julius. I was like,
wow.
He didn't look human. it looked like there was an aura around him.
Yo, there's an aura around Jordan, man. When I first saw Jordan, there was a gold aura around this dude.
And it was so crazy, Josue, that we used to essentially when Philadelphia, they would have they would warm up and they would dunk. We on the other side, we stopped. I would stop and I would sit down like I'm a damn fan and start watching these niggas dunk like
and Josue, they had Joe Kobe's pops, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, they had
World Beat Free was a dunker. Julius was a dunker. I mean, Bobby Joe, man, they had all these dudes, and then after they do their dunks, and then Julius would get and do something crazy, and the whole place would go ballistic. And that's why I said when he first stepped on the court, and the first time I ever guarded him, he scored 45 on me. I might as well have been a freaking maitre d' because I didn't touch it the whole time. I'm like, no, this way. And I'm looking at him like, damn, that was another nice move, man. I was a bitch. That's what I was. I was a bitch.
Not even from the bench, you doing it on the floor. Wow.
Are you serious here with this dude? Some of the moves, and that time was his career high. He had 45 against me, and I don't know if I ever touched him the whole freaking time because I was freaking petrified. Then that was in the regular season. Then we played him again later on. I got used to him, and then we started banging him around. It was really cool. But yeah, man, that New York connection, I hear that all the time about, a New Yorker myself. I'm not a New Yorker myself, but Nate Archibald, one of my best friends. And, he always used to talk about New York. He always talked about Rutgers Park. The first thing he talked about, nigga, you don't know nothing until you ain't seen Joe Hammond, the Destroyer, nigga. I like, what? That's it. Yeah,
The Destroyer.
Rutgers Park, there's a brother named Joe Hammond that ended up selling drugs, but he was like that. He would just walk in, put his damn sneakers on, and then go out and score 60. Suppose he scored 60 against Julius Erving when he was playing at that time. But Joe Hammond is that living legend. Tell us a little bit about Joe Hammond because I know you know about him.
Yeah, I mean, you always used to get, the talk because like Doc came from Roosevelt and Doc came from Roosevelt, Long Island. See, in New York, Long Island, even Queens and Brooklyn was also considered country. There was one city spot that they said was city in the 60s, and that was Harlem, and that's where it was, Manhattan and Harlem. Everything else was a suburb, so if you wasn't coming from Harlem, you was considered country. And then further out Long Island where we from, the counties, you really country, or Jersey or whatever. But by the 70s, Doc went from Long Island and turned the Rucker out. Because, I mean, you had people like Connie Hawkins, and you had the Rucker going on for years, and they said Doc he brought in a whole new way of looking at things. But Joe Hammond was one of the dudes they said that never missed and you couldn't stop him. And that word got out and be like, oh, man. And it's like, yeah, man, the Lakers want to pick up Joe Hammond, but he don't think they got enough money. Yeah, he got his pimp mobile. Straight out of a 1972 blaxploitation flick. People like Pee Wee Kirkland. Those dudes was like, they in Harlem. They Harlemites. They already at the Mecca of attention and fame. They got local Manhattan, center of the earth, Mecca fame. Here's a question I like to ask you. A lot of times people ask me about players as a fan and compare errors. Max will tell you, and here, mark my word right here. I don't think you'll get the same amount of play if you want to see a throwback game, put them in Chuck Taylors, 70s Converses, short shorts.
Yo, how do y'all used to ball?
Put them on the old Boston parquet floor, and that's how you have a real throwback game. You ain't even got to have the new players play against the old players. Have the new players playing old equipment. I don't think their unions will have it.
But Chuck, they did that one time.
They did?
They did it, and for half of a game, the Lakers versus Celtics. And Kobe Bryant had these short shorts on and all this other stuff.
Oh, because they're doing throwback night. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, yeah.
So at halftime, they changed over. So he came over to me at halftime. He said, "Man, I don't know how the hell y'all played in that shit." So
I'm saying.
he had exactly what you talked about. He had the Converse on. They had the shorts on. And
Andrew Bynum looked hilarious, man. He looked so funny with those shorts.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I stopped conversations and comparisons right there. I don't get into this, that, whatever. I said, if you want to compare the players now and the players back then, Syracuse Arena is still standing there. Rochester Arena is still standing there. Get them in them old arenas, take them in a van there or a train, and then put them in their old equipment gear. But number one, their agents and the lawyers and the leagues and the whatever CBA agreement, and never let that happen. But I said, if you want to show these young people that this is what they played in, and that's where you start to see results. You won't see a quick crossover. You won't see too many jab steps and unbelievable, because the equipment today is exceptional. The footwear is designed, and and then of course I'm not even talking about like the medicine and the doctors and all that. Put them in their old equipment. Excuse me?
Did you think that Converse? You didn't know Converse
dropped the ball
as bad as they were
would fall off. That what you about to say?
Because if you put on Converse right now, you walk down the street and twist your damn ankle. That might be the worst.
How did they do that?
It has no support at all. And
how did they do that, Max? Because in the 60s, it's like you got a tape job, you got a tape ankle job, and then you got in the Chuck Taylors. The same thing that fly girls be wearing in different colors, right?
And y'all running a full court game in those?
That's why you can't talk about Bill Russell. You can't talk nothing about Bill Russell, because Bill Russell is doing all those things in them kicks.
And
man.
And low cuts. You had on
low cuts.
Low cuts.
With lesser ankle injuries.
This episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast is powered by GameTime. GameTime makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. I actually had to put on a couple of personal friends of mine, to the GameTime app, and they were able to save money on last-minute playoff tickets. It's the best deals around. The lowest price guarantee, or GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. What other app is doing that? Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off of your first purchase. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Here's another thing I kind of don't like about the modern game. And when it comes down, somebody need to pull Luka's coattail, maybe Tatum's, sometimes Josh Hart with the Knicks and our player. Yo, man, everybody carrying the ball, man. Because when you look at clips from back in the day, Oscar Robertson got that hand on that ball like that. Jerry West, that hand on top, like tiny arch ball. That hand is like this. I don't understand this, man. It's like, why is Adam Silver allowed? I mean, when you could bring the ball up to your head and have it on the side of you and still keep the dribble, I'm like,
you know what? I'm gonna answer this question for you, and let me tell you why. And I talked to him about this must have been about 3 months ago. Who destroyed the game? Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing. He was at the International House of Pancakes. That nigga turned the ball over. I'm like, how he dripped? So don't tell me nothing about people destroying the game. And Chuck, as we like to say, you look in your own fucking backyard, okay? You're talking about somebody destroying the game. Patrick Ewing was the first that carried like that every single time.
I remember. I'm telling you, every clip, it's like, poof, poof, poof. Shot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Nick, as a Knicks fan, yes. But
we're talking basketball in sense of the way it was back then compared to it now. But what about rap, Chuck? How are you feeling about the today's artists and how the genre has been? I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar beat, but just overall, how do you feel about where rap is right now in 2024?
everybody got their audience. Your number one job to turn your audience out. Make your spell audience with AWE. If you ain't turn your audience out, you ain't doing the job. It ain't really you against anybody else. It's you against your audience. Make them like, damn, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. If they just like a millennial is like most of the time they like this. Their emotions is in their phone. So and people are like, well, it's harder to impress them because I was like, well, they have to figure something out. There's things out there that blowing their mind, but you got to figure out that straight line between I'm doing something and I got your attention by doing something you cannot do. And that's the bottom line of entertainment. And we can't, and we got to also look at, don't take things for granted that you can't imagine, that's just because it's on a screen doesn't mean that it's real. I mean, we look at this thing sometimes we look at an old Sammy Davis Jr. clip, and you'd be like, oh, does he got AI going with him? AI? Nah. And the same thing, so today's rappers, and this goes back even to the question you was going to ask about, did Converse drop the ball also in marketing? Number one, in the middle of the 80s, they didn't pick up, and Nike came in, but Nike came in, Run DMC did my Adidas. And kids was buying Adidas.
Yeah, that's what's rocking in Boston, man. Like,
yeah, they
80s, 90s, all that. Yeah.
And Nike knew that they had to have some kind of hip hop in it. So what happens? In the 80s, especially after that Michael Jordan game against the Celtics, said, listen, MJ, not just Michael Jordan, because, basketball players been doing incredible things all their lives. And, man, that doesn't mean you're going to sell kicks.
Right. Spike
Lee took Michael Jordan and Mars Blackman from She's Gotta Have It, a Brooklyn B-boy. And Michael Jordan got street cred that he didn't necessarily really had or deserved. He was just incredible ball player.
Just a ball player.
But where that Brooklyn hip-hop street cred come from? Didn't come from MJ. It came from Spike Lee, and Spike Lee had Mars Blackman, and that combination, boom, shot Nike up. Everybody had to have their Air Jordans. And 2 years before that, who had to get what? Run DMC made people go out there and get my Adidas. Now here we are in 2024, 2025, and everything is anything. I think it also boils down to, I think it's a beautiful thing when a person is 45 years old and sitting at a dinner banquet and they ask, like, what's your occupation? And the person says rapper, and they don't get laughed at. I'm a college graduate, right? I'm a designer, I'm an engineer, all kinds of stuff like that. If I'm sitting at a table, man, it's like, so what do you do? What's your profession? Rapper. Like, that shit ain't washing in the 80s, man, or not. And it's something I do and I could do well. And what got me into it, I knew that I had a voice and a know-how that nobody could match. But that, it ended up being an incredible part of my life because I'm fanatical about the occupation, the profession, and want to make it so. But I'm also a firm believer that you write half your life and life writes the other half. Man plans, God laughs. You know what I'm saying? But plan anyway, like Doc told me. So I just think,
I got to hit you with one of these before you go, man. We so appreciate you being on, but I have got to got to have your opinion about Cat Williams. And just, man, he done threw shade.
That was like the second day of the year too. Remember? That was the beginning.
I want to get it real from you, who knows the industry but knows all these other people, and what he said. That is just, it's been dog eat dog right now. So just tell me a little bit about that, how you feel, because I love to hear your opinion about Cat Williams and the controversy that he's kind of stirred.
Number one, people say a lot of different things. I'm not a firm believer, like, all news is good news. Yeah, you hear people like, you know what, news, any publicity is publicity. You know, if you bark at somebody, people know that means at least they know instead. I'm a firm believer that that's not always true. You got people that don't like each other. That's just the way life is. Well, you gonna tell me about somebody else? What that got to do with me? Ain't none of my business. You know, I think we as rappers seen comedians always in the area, rappers in the area. We try to get people out of the making beef real. Like, I mean, Tupac was like a nephew to me, you know what I'm saying? So, younger bro, that thing escalated because what it did is sold newspapers, magazines, records, media attention, and we see it culminate in tragedy that they still ain't been able to get out of. My good friend Jam Master Jay, who's the closest thing to a union leader you ever want to see, killed. You know, a lot of rappers got killed in cases that they never ever discussed. So we try to get far away from saying that had anything to do with the arts and something real. Comedians always seem to travel together, joke together, laugh together, and then when Spike Lee did the movie with the Four Kings of Comedy, that just took it to another level. Right. And a lot of people are like, damn, man, well, why is it hard for a rapper to travel? Yeah, well, you got to have this, that, and the other. You got a backdrop. You know, you got set, you got speakers, you got musicians, you got DJs, you got all that. All the comedian needs a glass of water, man. Speaker, mic, glass of water, and a stage. And a promoter look at that, it's like, I ain't got no overhead. And comedians kept rising and rising. Matter of fact, people said, damn, should I be a rapper or should I be a comedian? And a lot of people took that comedian route and saw that so many places to play, especially during sad times, you know? And they all exploded. Now, who exploded for whatever reason, that became a league of its own. And a lot of people been looking at each other for the last 20, 25 years, and people don't even know it. Man, I've been traveling with him. I remember them back in the day. So they got something that all of a sudden fruited to the front of mainstream culture when 25 years ago, it'd be like, yeah, black dude doing comedy, man. It was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like mainstream culture across a couple new generations getting in. Remember this. The businesses, whether they promoters, marketers, branders, or whatever, and we say branders because branding wasn't always a great thing for black folk in America. I mean, the minute we got off the boat, they took that iron and went brand. You know what I'm saying? And we got what? We tatted with a kilo. You know what I'm saying? A keloid brand on us. So they always want to be able to get somebody green. You know what green means, Josue? Not Celtics green.
Yeah, I mean, something that appeases everybody. Audiences.
Green is getting somebody who's young, naive, dumb, full of whatever.
Got you.
I see you coming. I could get you. Matter of fact, I know more about you than you know of yourself. And if you under 25, and really if you're the typical, then you you know nothing and you got less. And when you get something, I'm gonna get it from you. So the powers and the corporations and the businesses that be, you always got that in the mind. We're gonna get new generations because they green. They don't know it all, and they don't even know they know it. They don't know it all, and we're gonna get them. And once we get them, we're like, gotcha.
That's a New York in you because
New
York is always
looking
at the boys. And first thing is, hey, yo, Green, come here a minute. Let me talk to you. The hustle that you had on, that was because that in one of Stevie Wonder's songs, where the guy, he comes there to New York City, big, beautiful, and then somebody says, give him a bag and say, yo, man, run this cross street from me. And the guy said, what? And then next thing you know, police grab him, take him on, and he said, no, man, I didn't do anything. But that New York hustle, man.
New York culture, keep it moving. That's why politically, on what 45. I don't even say his name. President number 45.
Yeah,
He done game the country. The rest of the world's hip to this dude, but he done game the country, and it's so crazy. He game the middle of the country. And not saying that the old dude is better, but this dude. I mean, I've been looking at that 45 before he was 45. Like, he a celebrity. He ain't fit to be president. He a celebrity. Right. I've been seeing this dude since the mid-'70s, man. Yeah. You know, but he
wanted to start a network, and then it just snowballed into a campaign. That was crazy.
He using old New York game on and he'll tell you too. I'm gonna go into the backwoods of the United States and meet with the people, like he give a damn. But anyway, that's another statement. Another point.
That's for the next episode.
Before I end this, another impressionable person on me. And this is Stevie Wonder, right?
That's my guy.
Every time I come in Stevie Wonder's cipher in his area, I can't say shit. This is for years. I don't know what to fucking say to Stevie. And Stevie can see and hear everything. And say, hey, Stevie said, come over. And I go over and I'm staring at him and shit. I never could get. I don't know why. I'm telling you. Listen, Max. This is for years. This is the 80s.
Yeah, that's Max's show right there. That's his favorite.
80s, 90s, 2000s. And he'll say, "Hey, Chuck, there, sing Fight the Power," and I'm like, I don't know. I can't. He must be like, man, this dude, man. He's like, he don't never say nothing. I'm like, I don't know where to start, bro. I've been hearing this dude, man, since I was 3 years old in the crib, tearing my crib up every time fingertips come on. Ever since, yeah. So he's a favorite since I was 3 years old. Uptight, everything all right. I was made to love you, thank you for all that stuff, Inner Visions and all that. King Duke and all that. Yo, Sir Duke, this is my secret area. In all my conversations with Stevie Wonder throughout 40 years, I ain't said shit. I don't know where to start, bro. I don't even know where to start.
We're going to get this to Stevie Wonder somehow.
You're going to have to figure this out for real.
I don't know where to begin. How do you start with like Stevie? Huh?
I asked you earlier, I said, who are you in awe of?
This is it. This is it right here.
Yeah, same thing with Smokey Robinson. I just sat across the table with Smokey. I ain't say shit. I'm like, where do I start, man?
Max,
I
what would you say?
What
would you say to Stevie? See, you don't even know.
No.
You don't even know.
I'm just like Chuck D. I would say we grew up with his songs. My Sharia Moore, I was in love with a girl in the 8th grade. And I used to play the song as loud as that could possibly be. And I swore that I was this song was gonna take me to this girl and she was gonna be forever mine. So I know what he's talking about when he's talking about Sir Duke, or when he's talking about, keys to of life.
Of life. That's your favorite album.
All these things he had on. The one guy, Chuck, I wish I had met after I ended up seeing this movie was I wish I had met Ray Charles. Because Ray Charles just seemed like he was so, and I remember I had a couple of times to go see Ray Charles. I was like, I don't want to see. But after I ended up seeing the movie of Ray Charles, I was fascinated with his music and everything else. I heard bits and pieces of it, but when I saw all the things that that were done by him, and that movie was a great movie.
Man.
It was just one of those things that
Jamie Foxx crushed that role.
Foxx did such a magnificent job.
Incredible job, yeah.
Then I look at another guy, a New Yorker. When you look at Denzel, another guy. Do you say shit around Denzel?
Man, you better not talk. People better not say nothing against Denzel. Denzel is protected, man, by culture and the gods, man. I tell you, listen, when the LA Rebellion went down in '92, Denzel was out there with a shovel. Denzel Washington was out there with a shovel in the community, man, shoveling. Hey, that dude is just he's just something else, man. You know, so it's so many people. I mean, back in the day, right? And I don't mean to go over, but you know, you could chop this up or whatever. Yo, Dr. J, me and my boys would come from the park. We go up they had a Church's Fried Chicken in Roosevelt, and he had came back to see one of his old mentors and coaches. And him and his mentor and coach was sitting right. It was just us in Churches. So me and my two boys is like, we talking about Doc is like in the next thing, right? This is 1978. We like, so what the fuck are we really talking about, man? We just go, hey, Doc, how's that thigh, man? You know?
What's your favorite piece, Ray?
Doc, did you get yours crispy or hot sauce? Yeah, I understand when you talk about people who are
That's hilarious.
like that.
It's all Max. It's all right to be a fan.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing. A lot of times.
It's all right to be a fan, but not when you're playing against a fucking guy.
Of course not.
That was wild, Max. I never heard that
Shit.
story, Max. That was
Oh
crazy.
man.
And you playing against this guy, and you got to go heads up, and then you're looking like, oh shit, this is damn Doc I'm guarding, and like and your boys looking at you. You know, after you get through playing, you always come home, and your boys go, yo man, what the fuck was that you did with Doc? I was like, man, I was like you, Chuck. I couldn't touch.
But then later on, but how much did ML Carr egg you on to just be?
ML was bomber. He was a circus promoter. ML got a lot of guys, hyped up, man, because that was my guy, man. He was from North Carolina. We were kind of country boys together, but he was the one that actually made Kevin McHale jump on Rams, because they were talking about it. He said, man, ain't gonna have no more fast break. There'll be no more fast break. No more. And the next thing you know, Kevin gets in the game and
Boom!
He's just boom, grabs him around the neck. And Kevin is the scariest dude of all. I would have never picked him to be that dude to grab somebody, but he was hyped up by the hype man, ML Carr, at that time, so it was crazy.
Wow, all right, man, that's gonna do it for this episode, man. Sorry, man, I gotta get up out of here. I'm still in the arena, but no, man, this is incredible, man. Thank you for coming on, Chuck D. Man, we definitely have to get you back on here for sure, man.
Yeah, man. Celtics gonna be, 16-2 as a Knicks fan. Like I said, I got to shout out my guys, CP the franchise. We're over there, Knicks off season, on season. I'm in the mosh pit, man, over there on Knicks Fan TV, and he's also got the NBA report, so it's all part of this middle media sensation. But like I said, by default, I've been hearing, Celtics broadcast on Sirius XM, and Max, man, you remind me also of Don Meredith. At the end of the game, when the end of that game is over, Don Meredith will go into a saying or into a song, and you be like, wow, how did he come up with that? Party's over. That's my dad used to sing that all the time. My dad be like watching the game, all of a sudden he'd sing going, turn out the lights, the party. You remind me so much of Daddy Don at the end, especially the fourth quarter, man.
All right. Thank you, my brother. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Right.
Thank you.
Josue Pavon here, CLNS Media, and if you made it this far, that means you really like this video. So hit subscribe, make sure you keep our notifications on, damn it, and we got plenty of great content coming your way.